And I, as my role as host of this program, will endeavor to answer your questions to the best of my ability using our Catholic Church, our tradition, our fathers, the scripture, our saints, our doctors, our theologians, our councils, and anything that I can muster to answer your question so that you walk away satisfied your question has been answered. If someone were to ask me, I'm going to try to approach it this way. If someone were to ask me to describe Hinduism in its positive light, I mean, is there any good in Hinduism? Well, maybe that's not the right way to do it. We're not going to talk about good or bad right now. Let's just talk about, if someone were to ask me, how would you describe what Hinduism believes of itself? Maybe something like that. Okay, and you know what I would say? I would say exactly the same thing Vatican II said about Hinduism, which is, in Hinduism, men contemplate the divine mystery. I would say exactly that. Okay, because what do we know about Hinduism? Yeah, we have a lot of Hindu priests going around, and I studied Hinduism. I was a religion major in college. I had to study all these Eastern religions. And I can vouch for this statement that Vatican II made. Hinduism, men contemplate the divine mystery. Yeah, they contemplate. That means they're thinking about it. Why? Well, because they know God exists. How's that? Because the Bible tells us that they know God exists. in Romans chapter 1, Paul tells us all men know God exists. And even the ones that say they don't believe God exists, they believe God exists. Okay, that's a presupposition we start with in our Christian apologetic, that all men know God. They know he exists. Now, whether they reach him or not, or want to know him, that's a totally different story. And the rest of Romans chapter 1 goes on to tell us, yeah, there's a lot of people in the past that, even though they knew God existed by his eternal power and Godhead, they decided they weren't going to serve him and went their own way into all kinds of sins. So if we said a Hindu contemplates the divine mystery, that's exactly what he does. Because he knows God exists. He knows it's a mystery, because God's not coming down and talking in front of him and saying, "Hi, I'm God. How you doing? How's your day going? What do you want to talk about?" That doesn't happen. It only happens to a very few select people in history. So it's certainly not going to happen to a Hindu. Okay. So the Hindu, because he's a man made in God's image, and God has put the knowledge of himself, Paul says, into the very heart of that man, well, of course he's going to go contemplate the divine mystery. You see? So in other words, Vatican II is not vouching for him, the Hindu. Vatican II is just stating a statement of fact. This is what the Hindus do. Okay? If you're a Hindu priest, it's exactly what you're going to do. It just doesn't say that the result of it is that you will know the divine mystery, or that you're even going to come close. It's just saying that that's what they do. Okay? So it's a statement of fact. It's not a theological statement that the church is now telling us that the Hindus are basically on the same level that we are, because we contemplate the divine mystery, don't we? That's what we're doing tonight. We're contemplating the divine mystery. We just talked about 2 Corinthians 5:21. Talk about a divine mystery. Okay? There it is. In what way does Christ become sin for us? There's a divine mystery. I'm sure there's people that have been contemplating that for years, decades, and come up with their various answers to it. Okay, so all of us are contemplating the divine mystery. It doesn't guarantee what the result's going to be, because that's going to take a lot more information to reach than just your wish to decide, what is the divine mystery, or, after I contemplate it all. Where do I come out on it? The Hindus usually come out on the wrong end of the stick. Okay, they don't get any closer to God, contemplating the divine mystery, than if they didn't do it. Okay, and that's because they don't have the gospel.